Hello, my name is Ned Tillman. I'm an environmental author and an earth scientist and environmental scientist. And I've been asked to speak today about both this year's Earth Day celebration on April 22nd and the following days after that, and also the very first Earth Day event 50 years ago. This year, we're really struggling with two crises. We have the pandemic and climate change. And they're very much related. And they're both global in extent and they're both very dangerous. And these are two global challenges that we have to face head on and resolve. You might ask, why have I been asked to speak? Well, I was at the first Earth Day, and I remember very clearly, we were very excited about what we might accomplish at that point. It was a terrible time in our history, a lot of protests going on, a lot of division, and yet this event came up as a way of maybe one way we can all act to help save the planet. And so it inspired me. I've been studying Earth and environmental science for several years by that point, and I think this event really molded me in going into that as a career. For the last 50 years, that's what I've been doing. So I have some perspective on the challenges we face today. The birth of the modern day environmental movement was in the 60s. I mean, there had been previous actions and activities going way back to Henry David Thoreau and Ralph Waldo Emerson, John Wesley Powell, John Muir, leading all the way up to the Teddy Roosevelt and the fact that he was able to preserve hundreds of millions of acres for future generation, for us. So these ancestors of ours left us a great legacy that we have to continue to take care of. But the modern environmental movement really did occur in the 60s, because that's when all of a sudden with TV, we started seeing what we were doing to this planet. What many of us were doing to this planet without realizing the negative impacts. And so when Senator Gaylord Nelson stood up and had the federal government appoint this day as Earth Day, he did this to rally the troops, basically. He had seen the ravages of a number of these big events, such as the 1969 Santa Barbara blowout, the oil spill. He was hoping to capture the energy of the anti-Vietnam War protests and the increasing consciousness of most of us in seeing that we really had polluted our air and our water, and we need to do something about it. And so this was one of the big first events that happened, and it happened across the country. Several thousand college campuses took the day to dedicate to a national teach-in, and tens of thousands of secondary schools around the country and communities. They estimate about 20 million people got involved with that national teach-in, and we all learned a lot. And the momentum built from that to legislation later in that year and the following year that created the Clean Air Act, the Clean Water Act, the EPA, the Endangered Species Act. So it was quite a success from that perspective. What was great about that time is that we had Republicans and Democrats both realizing this and coming together to get past this legislation. They gave us the legal tools that we've continued to use for the last 40, 50 years to reduce the negative impacts we're having on the country, on the planet. So that was great. A lot was accomplished, but guess what? In my lifetime, our population has doubled in size. And there's a lot of pressures on the environment, continues to be. Certainly from burning fossil fuels, trash, and we need to keep on top of these issues. So that's our big challenge today. How do we motivate even more people for in the future? So this year, Earth Day 50, April 22nd, and probably the next 2 or 3 days after, there's going to be a lot of activities, and most of it's going to be virtual because of the pandemic. But these virtual things can set the stage for lots of activities and actions throughout the year. But the most important aspect is it's got to be another national or global teach-in. We really have to learn what we've done and how we can improve things in the future. The some of the ideas being suggested is a great global cleanup that starts on Earth Day and continues throughout the year. Others, groups have gotten together and talk about planting 7.8 billion trees on the planet, one for every living person. Also, increasing advocacy on all levels. What we're really hoping is people will tune into places like all the local nature centers, the check in on your local climate action groups, land trusts, research centers, county and state governments. All these folks are having activities related to that day. If you want to go to some national sources, you can go to earthday.org or the Sunrise Movement. They're all planning stuff this year. And what we're hoping is not just 20 million, we're hoping 1 billion people will get involved and set up a plan to help clean up this planet and help slow down the changing climate. So join us. Thank you very much.